Yes, thanks for staying with us on the Sports Show. Well, KG, time to turn our attention to the SANFL. It's all finished.
How good was it, though? How good was it?
Well, if you barrack for Sturt, then it was fantastic. Barrack for the Magpies, not too good. If you're a coach at Norwood, then it's even worse because you finished fourth and didn't get to the grand final. But the coach, Jared Cotton from Norwood, joins us. Cots, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks, guys.
Mate, for you, at the start of the season, let's go back to the start.
Yep.
The year before hadn't been a great year for the club, finished 8th.
Yep.
Coming into the season, what were you hoping to achieve?
Oh, look, with a lot of changes as well to one personnel, but also our game style. I was hoping, obviously, you aim for finals, and that's where we wanted to be, but also changing the environment. It hadn't got the best over the last season, so to try and change the environment, also just aim for finals, and also for the players to get back to enjoying playing footy again, which I'm pretty confident they did. And Mitch Grigg win the McGarry medal. He did say he just really enjoyed playing footy again from coming out of the AFL system. So, yeah, from 8th to 4th was a real positive, but we've got some things we've got to get better at.
Mate, they all say that. Once you finish 4th, you tend to get a little bit greedy. You said at the start of the year, if we could make it into the finals, we'd be happy.
Yep.
So we made it into the finals and we weren't happy because we didn't keep going.
Well, I mean, like any sporting team, you never want to lose. Yep. So, and once you're there, you give yourself an opportunity. And we played some really good footy during the year to the point where we could compete with every team.
Yep.
And we drew with Sturt in the last game of the year, and they went on to win the flag. So from that point of view, yeah, you do get a little bit greedy because you're there and you want to make the most of your opportunity. But when you sort of look at it as a big picture thing, 8th to 4th is a real positive step, and we've laid a really good foundation. But now we've just got to get better.
So, Jared, what are you doing now? Are you talking to players about staying, and are players going and looking at recruiting?
Yeah, a whole range of things, Cage. Like we do exit meetings with the players and get their feedback on the year and what we did well and what we need to improve on. Same with coaches. So we look at how that structure worked and what we need to get in with different coaches as well. So that's a long process. And then also we start looking at recruits as well. So yeah, there's a few that are retiring. And then obviously we're looking at things that we need to make our team better.
Mate, when you talk about some of the retirees, you've lost a couple of senior players, been with the club for a long time. When you have your exit meeting with those players, are you expecting, do you know going in that they've said this is my last year, or any of them catch you off guard?
No, one we already knew was going to be his last year. So Tim Webber, 3-time premiership player and a great person of the football club. We knew this was his last year, so that wasn't too much of a shock. And the other two, Andrew Kerwin and Christian Rook, were probably 50-50s, and you sort of knew that was coming. But when they actually say that they've just got other things, one's injury and one's just travelling. So you can't really control that. And once they've made their mind up, it's hard to change it.
What about some youngsters coming through, Jared? Are you happy with the way they're going, the progress they're making?
Yeah, definitely. So we had Chris Olsen, who played his first league game this year and had a good impact and played the last 5 games of the season. And we've got some good kids coming through that played in the state championships as well. So Stephen Giro, Brodie Carroll, Harry Petty, and Bailey as well. Harry Petty and Bailey will probably get drafted. Steph Giro and Brodie Carroll probably 50-50 chances to get drafted.
Mate, when you finish 4th, you've got to tinker a little bit because you've got obviously recruits come in. That's an important part. Coaching staff you mentioned. Is there going to be a change with your coaches? Put them in different positions?
Maybe. It's going to be pretty similar. There'll be a couple of changes with the coaches. Reserves coach won't go on, so we'll get someone new in there. And that's more about development with our young players. But overall, it won't be too much of a dramatic change. It'll just be, like you said, a few small things that we need to change and look at and look to improve, and that'll be the same thing with our game style. You learn things over the course of the year of what you need to get better at, and also the recruits that you need to target to hopefully help that work as well.
So, Jared, what area do you think as coach Norwood need to improve to go that next step?
I think well, it's funny, we were the second highest scoring team in the comp, so we actually scored reasonably well, but it was a lot from our midfield and smaller players. We're sort of missing a key forward. I think that a Corey Beard type player that can take a big mark in your forward half and actually compete really well. We're probably missing that. Also a bit of a more midfield run. Mitch Grigg's excellent, obviously, and Matt Panos, but we're a bit more two-way running is probably what we're after. So that point of view, they're probably the main things we need to look at. And we probably turn the footy over way too often, purely for the fact that we tried to play a lot faster. So at times blokes went for kicks that they're probably not capable of.
How enjoyable was it for you?
It was awesome. Yeah, it was really good. I mean, we lost 4 games by under a kick. So that tends to get you a little bit more grey hair. And yeah, it was. So but we're in the games. So we're really competitive from that point of view. But when you're there, again, you want to make sure you win those games. And if we had, we probably would have finished top 3, and that gives you a better chance again. So really enjoyable, but there's obviously as coaches, everyone coaches, it gets frustrating at times because you want to win, but you got to be patient. So
you've touched on it a couple of times. You brought in that high energy, fast pace, offensive transition style of game. With that, turnovers come, and obviously the team then gets an opportunity to attack you. A high scoring team, not so good defensively, but you can only work on so many areas at a time when you come in as a new coach to introduce. So if we said right now we've got the fast game going okay, we need a second string to that bow. We need to tidy up the areas defensively when we turn the ball over. So it's a reaction thing.
Yes.
How difficult to bring those in next season?
Oh, I don't think it's that difficult. I mean, the main thing was we were a very defensive team for 6 years when Nathan Bassett was in control of the footy club. And that was great. They had great success, but the game's evolving, and obviously we wanted to score more than what we had previously. So that was from that extreme to where we are now. Now we just got to pare it back a little bit. So just picking the right option, decision making is key, and then also having some other systems in place that if you can't go fast, then how do you prepare yourself for that? What method you have in place? So that's the sort of stuff that we'll practice.
Mate, you've spent a lot of time around coaches, a bit of Phil Walsh in you, and you know I have a relationship, high respect for Walshy, but when you talk to the coaches, they keep saying how much the game is continuing to evolve and evolve quickly.
Yeah.
So maybe 10 years ago, the slow grinding footy was okay.
Yep.
Now it's the fast tempo game. That style wouldn't work anymore. Where's it going?
I think number one is you've got to win it at the source for starters. Yeah, if you can't win the footy, you're in a bit of trouble. So even Sturt on the weekend, their clearance work was enormous in the first quarter, and that gave them a real advantage. So you still got to do that well. But I think now it's not so much now locking it away in a half. You want to do that, but teams are so good with their skills, they're able to work the footy through. So you've now got to be able to defend in a different way. And to score, you have to play that way, otherwise you just won't score.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because the dynamics always were you needed a size, good size in your group. But if we look at Richmond this year, really small front six for what it's worth compared to the Crows. We've got the probably bigger four and Betts in there. You kind of go, now it's not so much anymore about size, it's coming much more down to who's got the best skills. Yeah,
correct. And I think also how much pressure can you apply. So I think the game with Adelaide and Richmond on the weekend is going to be really interesting because, like you said, Richmond really rely on that pressure inside their forward half to lock the footy away and cause turnovers just from their heat. Where Adelaide really, I mean, they played Geelong and their skill, ball movement-wise, was untouchable. So it's going to be a really good challenge to see if Adelaide can beat that pressure that Richmond bring, or can Adelaide actually work the footy through like they did.
Their forward setup is magnificent, Adelaide. They've got so many options, Joe.
That's the key. Yeah, without doubt, and McGovern out as well. So if he was there, he just creates another different avenue as well. But Lynch is really important for him. He really generates that link-up play and works really hard. Betts and Cameron are two of the most dangerous sort of forwards going around. So, yeah, they are. They're very hard to match up on. And if Taylor Walker has a good day, then he's able to kick 5 or 6 goals as well. 40,000
almost at the Sanford Grand Final. I couldn't believe that crowd.
No, it was excellent.
The noise they made, sensational.
Oh, without doubt. I mean, Port's the traditional clubs. I think if you had Nord or Glenelg, those sort of teams, unfortunately, when Western Eagles come in, their supporter base isn't as high.
Correct.
So you're not going to get that same number. But from what I didn't go to the game, but apparently the last quarter was as loud as you get.
Unbelievable.
So, and it's great for the SANFL for that to happen.
Mate, just before we let you go, Crows or Richmond?
Careful.
No, I honestly believe, I think Adelaide are just too even across the board, and I think if they get there, like I said, their running game and they execute with their skills, I think they've just got too much power in their forward half. So I think they should probably break the game open.
I always said he's a good bloke. I always said Joe.
I think it should be a ripping game though, without doubt.
That's the ideal grand final.
Well, without doubt, it's going to be awesome.
All right, Jared Cotton was our special guest. Stay with us. Plenty of sport still to come.